All right. So last week's ship updates was a little bit of a different type of episode. And this week, of course, we've got something new. We've got something flashy. It's the Tumbril LTI token. Now, you might think that I'm being a little bit dismissive. You might think that I'm being a little bit snarky. But the point that I'm going to drive home with this video is that, while there are certain criticisms out there about Star Citizen that I don't think necessarily apply, there are certain criticisms that are true. And this is one of those situations where we do kind of have to bring one of these things to light. But at the same time, this is a hell of an LTI token, and the price is right. Now, this is, of course, a picture snapped around Area 18. It shows the new Tumbril Cyclone, and you're thinking, wow, that looks really cool. It's going to hit those kind of Neo-Tokyo / moments, and, yeah, I could totally see that. That's really cool. But there's a problem. And it's a problem that's existed with Area 18 since its very first inception. When we first got Area 18, you may remember that people were able to pull out Greycat PTVs in Area 18, and so for the first little while, people were driving around the original iteration of Area 18 in Greycat PTVs and running each other over and crashing them, and there were plenty of videos of people bumping into each other, killing people, burning Greycat PTVs lying around Area 18, and someone said, maybe Area 18 needs dedicated roads, right? This was a criticism, years ago when we got the first iteration of Area 18. Now Area 18 is an entire planet. It's a city planet with not 1 kilometer of usable road. Where are we going to use a motorcycle on the entire planet? You see, this is one of those places where, unfortunately, criticism is kind of true. And there are times when it feels like, let's look at these space bikes for a second, or let's look at these motorcycles, more appropriately for a second. 3 different variants can do 3 different jobs. One can haul cargo, one's for racing, one's for combat. But there's a problem. This does all 3 jobs. This does every single job. You can drive this one faster than you can drive any motorcycle, so it'll win a race. It's not subject to terrain. It has weapons, and it can carry cargo. It can do everything every single variant of this motorcycle can do all in one package. And for the end user, it's not that much of a problem, because you purchase one of these, upgrade it to a Drake Dragonfly. Next time it becomes available, boom, you got a Dragonfly with LTI. You can do all 3 jobs for 1 vehicle. You probably end up saving money. Not a bad deal, right? Up front, it's a good thing, but it does kind of illustrate this kind of problem that Star Citizen keeps running into. Somewhere, somehow, someone said, hey, let's do a motorcycle, but no one thought, shouldn't we be putting roads in Lorville? Shouldn't we be putting roads on Area 18? Shouldn't we be putting roads on moons and places where people can travel between, various mission sites on a planet that sometimes are separated by hundreds of kilometers, and now you got to deal with the terrain, not just hover over it like you could with a space bike? Was anybody really thinking about all those things? Or were they just thinking that, this is a cool idea, we should put it in the game, without thinking about the practical ramifications that something like this would have in the game? And that's kind of one of the big criticisms that unfortunately has some teeth when talking about Star Citizen, is oftentimes it feels like the things that make it all the way through are things that were kind of like an interesting idea on paper, but not very well thought out, but they made it all the way to production. They ate up resources and they went all the way to production before anyone was there to kind of pump the brakes and say, wait, this is stupid. because we already have something better and cheaper. Now, one individual bike may be able to do combat, but we have a space bike that does that plus every other job. And when you add up buying 3 motorcycles versus buying 1 space bike, it's cheaper. But like, how did this go? How did this go through and nobody stopped it and said, hey, wait a minute. This kind of doesn't make sense for what we're trying to do. We haven't even put roads on our city planet. What are people going to use this for? You know, it doesn't make sense. But it's a great opportunity at the same time to buy something that's actually good and get it with LTI. All you have to do is wait for the next time the Drake Dragonfly comes up for sale, and you're Gucci. You've got it. You've got cargo capacity, you've got combat capacity, and you've got the ability to race over any type of terrain because you're not subject to that terrain. You hover over it. So it's a solid gold opportunity to actually get something good. The problem is you have to go through something that really wasn't that well thought out. You know, when we were talking about that recent criticism in the Forbes article, and they were kind of highlighting micromanagement, oh my God, there's micromanagement and all this stuff like that, I kind of like looked, I don't know about that, because honestly, I feel that when I look at things like this, I say, it's almost like there's multiple independent teams all over the place that are working almost completely ignorant of each other most of the time, developing ideas and taking them into production and selling them without someone kind of with their eye on the big picture saying, no, that doesn't make sense in our universe. There's no reason why anybody would want that other than having an LTI token. And why can't we just sell an LTI token on the website and just save all that artwork time and maybe put it towards finishing a ship that people are already waiting for? Someone, who was kind of in charge of things would have done something like that. If they were a micromanager, they would have had their hands into everything. They would have said, no, that doesn't make sense. I think, honestly, maybe that would be the biggest criticism, and is it seems like there are some of these ideas that kind of gain ground and go into production without being fully thought out, and especially in the context of the Star Citizen universe and the reality that you're trying to create. It's almost like a bunch of kind of half-formed ideas go live before anyone stops it and says, let's look at the big picture. Does this make sense? So ultimately, what do I see here? I see a hell of an opportunity to get a Drake Dragonfly or maybe one of the other space bikes with LTI eventually. But for right now, really? Are we going to kind of go back to, Lorville and Area 18 and start redesigning them with roads in mind? I don't think so. We're not going to do a complete refactor of those planets and those cities just for this. Even the design of Levski kind of really doesn't make sense for something like this to exist. It's got a little bit of a road going out of it, but there's nowhere really that you would want to go on the planet apart from Levski. And the terrain is such that you would probably just take a hover bike anyways. So are we going to go back and refactor the game for one kind of stupid vehicle? No. But it is a great opportunity to get something that's actually worthwhile in the universe. And that's something that I don't think you can really ignore. Anyways, that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in the Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.